grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best. Especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing, I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. For those of you who already do the things that make us proud, your nation in appreciation says thanks to you out loud. Your schoolmates should imitate the way you tap your potential. Let me try to convince them why their effort is essential. Our men and women in uniform, before, during, and after Desert Storm, always perform above the norm, anywhere and everywhere on the planet. They need to follow our heroes' lead, but they cannot lead if they cannot read. Allow me, please, to plant this seed. Don't take freedom for granted. I'm serious, I'm furious to see U.S. schools behind. Remove the clatter, it's just a matter of our making up our minds. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. We believe in you, warriors protect you to do what you must to rise. Please do your part. Please start before another warrior dies. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. They sacrifice for you. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. Please.
Good afternoon and welcome to Wave Your Grades on KUAW.org, the academic patriotism program that is dedicated to veterans and serious secondary scholars. I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now, here is our host, civilian urban educator, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much, DeQuay Wilson, our producer, engineer, announcer, and co-host on Wave Your Grades. Today is Saturday, October 21st, and I have a profound thank you to offer and an explanation at the same time, and that thank you is for those who have been patient with me over the last couple of weeks. Missed last week's program, so first, a thank you for the patience of KUAW.org. I continue to look at what my wife would describe medically as something akin to sleep apnea. I don't know how familiar we all are with that, and that may indeed not be exactly what it was, but my exhaustion caused me to be inactive for several days last week, but most particularly DeQuay Wilson, Lewis, George Walker, last weekend, the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center celebrated 50 years.
50 years, yes.
Last weekend, Urban American Outdoors Television had a celebration and a several days event. last weekend into this week, Orly McKenzie and the 360 community presentation that she was making that we should all be apprised of was occurring. And on that particular weekend, I was totally inactive and missed all kinds of stuff, Louis.
It was a lot going on.
It was a lot
too.
going on.
I couldn't make it to all of it, but there was a lot of things happening for some reason.
And all of it, good stuff. All of it really very special. So
absolutely.
Hate that I missed it. I did call some folks, and people were very nice and understanding. One of the things I wanted to begin with today is another Brother Louis George Walker. I don't know whether I want to say thank you, congratulations, or deepest appreciation for our partnership with the FM station that is indeed broadcasting now. And I asked Louis George Walker, founder of KUAW.org, to explain the various ways you can be a part of us, and most particularly that FM connection.
All right, yes. For those of you that's been listening to KUAW, listening to the broadcast of the Carl Boyd Show and many other local broadcast shows that we're doing that are local for our community, you've been listening for years to us, and we've been on the internet. We still are on the internet on KUAW.org, on Get Me Radio, on the online radio box, on TuneIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, all of these things. But one thing that was missing is we didn't have an FM broadcast. And we have joined forces. We have a partnership now with KOJH, which stands for Kansas City's oldest jazz house, and is at 100.5. So if you happen to be in the 18th and Vine area and within 3 miles of it, you can pick us up. So if you go to 100.5, you can hear this broadcast. Now, we're not broadcasting our music. We're broadcasting our live local shows. So as a community radio station, KOJH said, hey, we would like to help out for the live shows that you have. And that's what we're doing. So we're broadcasting our live shows. We have a select few shows, and Carl Boyd's Wave Your Grades was definitely one of the flagship shows we wanted to make sure got on first. So he did the first broadcast, but we also have a sports show that comes on Thursday evening.
Wow.
We have a mental health show that comes on Tuesday, Cognitions. We have a cooking show, Senior Moments, that comes on. And, of course, yours truly does the BFTAA and more show. And we have more shows that are going to be coming. So we're broadcasting 5 different live shows from the Kansas City community. So this is community information that we're getting out. So tell your friends they can listen to us at 100.5. I thought we had a problem with that when the show started. I said, well, I hope it's working. But special thanks to Mr. James McGee for making this all happen. James McGee and the Jazz Foundation, the Kansas City Jazz Musicians Foundation. They have helped make this all possible. So we have a big thanks to them that we're out on the FM broadcast now. So 100.5, 100.5 on your FM dial, they can listen to us.
That's outstanding. KOJH.
That's right. That's it.
Oldest jazz house.
Oldest jazz house.
Now, I want to ask something of Louis George Walker. In as much as you started KUAW, remind us of how long ago that was. And I want to put something to on Brother Louis George Walker that he was not expecting this afternoon. And it goes kind of like this. Walk us through
Louis George Walker Day. This gentleman is on this case, persistently. How long has it been, and what is it like?
Well, we started this station, and I have to thank Mr. Leon Dixon
Yes.
for getting me involved in this thing, you know,
I can
for
understand.
better or worse.
Or better.
But Leon Dixon is always looking for ways to bring things into the community, and he brought an opportunity to me about starting this radio station. That was back in, I think it was 2014, 2013.
Wow,
When it
okay.
actually started. Now, we
10
didn't broadcast
years.
for the first time until 2015.
Okay.
2014, 2015 exactly, but it took about a year of planning, getting it together and stuff before we actually did get on the air.
Yes.
So we've been rolling with this, and the WEB Du Bois Learning Center has graciously allowed us a facility, a location to
Yes.
broadcast from. So this is a collaboration of a lot of entities. So right now you're looking at
Absolutely.
the WEB Du Bois Learning Center, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, the Musician Foundation.
That's
all
yes.
of these working together to make it where you hear what you hear.
This is so.
And Stoots for Boots.
Well, thank
that
you.
is involved in this too. So
I appreciate that so very, very much. And one of the things that we always talk about, children learning by example more than by instruction, the example here, particularly for our community, is to help young people in particular, but all folks, to know not only the importance of messaging,
Yes.
getting it out, but also how to get it done. And you are showing how to get that done. There's a gentleman whose name I won't mention yet. He might not be ready for that, but he has a sports program that emphasizes blacks and swimming, blacks and water sports. Some people neglect to understand how involved we are in certain things. So I'll be introducing you to him next week. But this is an opportunity to get your message out.
Yes, and that's what, and our airways are open too. If you're in the community and you have an organization that is a community organization, or you have some information to share with the community, think about KUAW. A lot of people are starting to use us to get the word out. If you have, we can do public service announcements, your next event, your next meeting that you're having, things like that. Public service stuff. We can get that out to our audience, as big or as small as it may be.
Exactly.
But it's getting out to some more people. And that's one of the primary things that we want to do, especially people in this community. And you can get your message out around the world, because we're broadcasting on the internet. So we're not just helping Kansas City know what's going on in Kansas City, but we're helping the world know what's going on in Kansas City.
And another thing, there have been a few times when someone has asked me about a past show, and I have been able to retrieve that. How does that go?
Yes. So our shows, all of our live shows, our video shows, we record them. So you can go to YouTube at KUAW Radio.
Yes.
There is a playlist with the different shows on it. You go to that show and you can look back, like if you want to find out about Wave Your Grades, you don't have to look through all of them. You can just click on Wave Your Grades, and all the Wave Your Grades show, if you happen to be on one, or a relative or something like that, and you want to
Yes.
share it with friends, then you just go look up Wave Your Grades on you got to go to KUAW Radio first, and then you'll see our playlist.
Yes.
You click on the playlist, and then it'll show all the names of our shows. Click on Wave Your Grades, and it'll show you all of Wave Your Grades shows, and you can play them or send a link to somebody else to watch it.
Yes.
So it's archived, and so far as I know, they've archived every show that we've done. If we put it on record, they've got them.
And I'll tell you one way that's going to help me today. But first, KUAW, anything on your mind?
No, I'm just listening. I like to listen and learn. I have a tendency to learn a couple of things when I listen.
Well, I'll tell you, there's so much to learn from Louis George Walker. But this is what's interesting about my saying to you, is there something else? This gentleman will have 4 duties and responsibilities today. It isn't as though, and you weren't apprised of the fact that I wanted you to do this, so I don't expect you to sit here for the full hour, but I sure would like it if you do.
Yes, we do have some robotics going on
There
upstairs.
you go.
We've got some kids upstairs with a robotics program that we host here.
Yes.
And also on the broadcast side, our cognitions people have been wanting some interns or somebody to work with them to research. So we have students now from De La Salle High School that come over on Tuesday under Miss Valencia Broadus.
Yes.
And they're helping with the mental health show. They're giving from a young person's perspective. They come up with a question of the day.
Yes.
They come up with a topic, and they've researched on it, and they talk about that on Cognitions on Tuesday.
And they also talk about financial literacy.
Financial literacy and cooking.
Cooking, mental health, financial literacy.
It's a group, but they're there and they're working with it. So
And
we're glad to have them.
all of the other programs and opportunities, obviously, we will let you go to the robotics on a particular Saturday, but let us continue to get the word out.
Yes, and that's needed.
Yes, sir. Thank you so very, very much. If there is anything else?
Well, one thing, and it's still going on, like you had mentioned, the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center is celebrating 50 years
Yes.
of doing tutoring work in the community. Last week they had the homecoming, which was out in our playground, and we had students out there, kids, families,
Oh, wow.
parents, everybody was out there. They had T-shirts, they had bouncy houses, they had everything going on because that was the homecoming day. And the 26th, I think Thursday,
Yes.
they're having a luncheon
Yes.
right here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center as they're about to close out. They've been celebrating the whole month,
Oh, man.
50 years, so they're having a luncheon here. So you can go to the Facebook page, and there's a QR code that you can RSVP if you want to come to that luncheon on the 26th. It's going to be right here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning
That is
Center,
so good.
4510 East Linwood Boulevard. We'd love to have everybody come.
Outstanding. And by the way, if they want to contact Louis George Walker about this station and the things that you're doing with BFTAA, they can contact you.
Oh, they can contact us. You can give us a call at 816-599-6893. That's 816-599-6893. It's scrolling across the screen now. You can leave a message if nobody's here to answer the phone, and we do check our messages regularly. You can also reach us on Facebook. Go to KUAW-radio. You can leave us a message there in messaging. You can also go to BFTAA, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and you can email us at bftaa@sbcglobal.net or KUAW985@gmail.com. So there's a lot of ways to get in touch with
Thank
us.
you. Thank you very, very much.
Glad
God bless you.
Glad to be here.
Just wanted to say, when you mentioned being able to go back into the programs, that segues very nicely into my advertisement about Heroes You Know. So thank you very much, Louis George Walker.
All right. Now I'm going to excuse myself for a second.
I do understand.
But I will be back.
Good.
And stuff, but
Thank
I'll be
you.
right back. Thank you
Yes.
for the opportunity to speak to the audience on your show.
Well, this is our show. Believe that, and I mean that
All righty.
seriously. All right. We have just broached the subject of the opportunity to retrieve past shows. And one of the things, DeQuay, that we talk about on this program is the essay contest, which you will introduce at halfway through or something like that. But had the occasion to retrieve the program with Syria Shields offering Heroes You Know You Didn't Know Were Heroes in honor of Mr. Carl Evans. That's Carl Evans Sr., the late Carl Evans, administrator, teacher, community activist, a part of the Black Agenda on Monday mornings, quite a gentleman. And when we get to that part of the program, we will talk about how important we think it is, but also how lucrative it might be for someone. When I found out, excuse me, DeQuay, that I would be guestless this afternoon, and thank you so very, very much for Louis George Walker sitting in for the first portion of the program, it occurred to me that if I had to do a monologue, could I make it make sense? This, I think, is a very important opportunity as it relates to honoring those who serve. And I don't know how to do this, so you might not be able to see this. But Eric Wesson started a new newspaper called The Next Page KC. The Next Page KC. Now, we know Brother Wesson from his years with the KUAW paper. And in the black community in Kansas City, we have been blessed to have the Globe with us for many decades. So in that same vein, as it relates to carrying the message, and I indicated to Brother Walker that our messaging is extremely important to help people to understand what we think is important, what we would like to get out, what they want to know about us, how they can contact us, all of those kinds of things. So it occurred to me then when I realized this morning that I would not have a special guest, that I might read the column that Eric Wesson allowed me to print in the Next Page KC. And one of the reasons that I feel comfortable doing that is because it is consistent with the message for Wave Your Grades, because the name of the column is Academic Patriotism. So inasmuch as I'm talking about those same things and have the time, I thought I would take a chance on reading this column that will help me to explain why I think Wave Your Grades is important. So, DeQuay Wilson, if you will allow me, producer, engineer, announcer, co-host of Wave Your Grades, I will do this, I want to say as quickly, but I also want to be as intelligible as I can. So this is called Academic Patriotism. This is the 6th column, Title 6. And the name of this column for Title 6 is Why This Title? And the title is Academic Patriotism. Why this title? In my book, Academic Patriotism, I used the subtitle, American Students Striving for Excellence in Honor of Our United States Armed Services. I have a simple personal philosophy relative to American students having and embracing a fundamental purpose to excel academically above other students everywhere else. Inasmuch as average American citizens join our armed forces to perform in above average, high above average ways to keep our nation safe, my belief is that we owe them an above average lifestyle when they return home from deployment. No troop member should return home to a neighborhood that is less safe or less healthy than where he or she was deployed. Adults can help us improve our nation by using our political systems, including voting, to continually do better. Students may be too young to vote, but they can elect to be excellent. Adults can form advocacy organizations to lobby for veteran rights, including exemplary health services. Students may be too young to advocate, but they are at just the right age to seriously study medicine, science, technology, sociology, and related career fields that will benefit from today's students going beyond those who have preceded them. Adult sciences can study climate change. Today's students can change the climate of study. While renowned scientists can study extreme temperatures up and down, our students can make sure that studying is always cool. In this consideration of one educator's philosophy of academic patriotism, please know that I respect and appreciate the many ways today's educators, parents, advocates, mentors, and tutors motivate and help young scholars excel. In this explanation of why this title, readers who know me will not be surprised at my quoting once again Reverend Miller's Doc Bass, his words, "The relevance of intelligence," help to encapsulate my desire for students to understand and to accept meaningful purpose, yes, to see personal relevance in their schoolwork, based in this case upon helping military personnel to feel that they do not serve in vain. Now, as for this 81-year-old brother from the south side of Chicago speaking to patriotism in the milieu of a cynical social backdrop, allow me to assure you that the writing of the book, copyright 2014, took place in a somewhat less cynical moment. But make no mistake, we as a people have proven ourselves patriotic in ways too numerous to count. In fact, I counted most patriotic when fighting for rights due our ancestors well before us, and then trust even those we protest to respond justly. Additionally, as I promised to write a future column using the title, "Applying Afrocentric Academics to Universal Inquiry," I shall explain why understanding our cultural roots is beneficial for all students and all teachers from all over who employ our approach. And interestingly enough, talking about the 50th anniversary of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, and understanding that the Learning Center comes from an Afrocentric perspective, along with the Institute of Positive Education in Chicago, Illinois, that was founded in 1969, this will be appropriate to pursue as we follow up on what I wrote for today. Continuing, why this title, Academic Patriotism? Because America needs our children in a most patriotic way. We need our children not just to improve our society, but to refine us as they redefine us. Now, if I should describe what I mean by redefine, then I would be doing what I am asking coming generations to do. We need them. Observe our politicians in action. Change is needed. Look at breaking news. Change is needed. Consider mental health. Change is needed. Consider unnecessary poverty. Change and fairness are needed. Observe wars and rumors of wars. Change is imperative. It may be unfair, but we look to today's students for change. Consider, please, the term we lamented during mid-20th century civil rights efforts, the paralysis of analysis. Let me not become so impressed with my own elementary analyses that I create within me a paralytic inability to learn myself. I have written morning messages for students for every day of the year. Allow me to offer one of those messages in the context of this column. I wrote for October 9th, quote, "How will America go down in history? They fight and you study to make sure that we don't," unquote. For space, from now on I shall keep my title brief, Academic Patriotism, and we thank you for understanding. Now, that was written for the next page, KC, for this weekend. Let us take our mid-program break and revisit it after DeQuay Wilson.
It's time to remind our 7th and 8th grade students, 7th through 12th grade students, that you can win a monetary award from our sponsoring organization, Students for Boots. Your essay title will be Heroes You Know You Did Not Know Were Heroes. Your content will identify a veteran at your school. A veteran can be anyone, a teacher, custodian, cafeteria worker, school bus driver, absolutely anyone. If your essay is chosen and submitted by an adult who gives you permission to read it on this Waive Your Grades program, you will be awarded a monetary prize. For inquiry or entry, please send an email to stootsforboots@gmail.com. That is stootsforboots@gmail.com. STOOTSFORBOOTS@gmail.com. Back to our host, Carl Boyd.
Thank you so very, very much. And so it is that we had today a program that allowed for a monologue. I look forward to next week's guest, but having that opportunity, just wanted to make that statement. And one of the things that I intended to put in the column, perhaps I'll put it in a future column, is as we look around today at our politics in particular, when we look at the adults who are responsible for Congress, and we look at the Senate, and we look at congresspersons and what they're doing and how they are acting. Somebody said we need an adult in the room. And I was thinking that instead of looking for an adult in the room, maybe we need a child with a broom to sweep us into a wiser future because we are acting more like children than we are leaders of what the president projected as the greatest nation in the world. Does the world continue to think that? We realize that the problems besetting us are not going to be solved this weekend. They're going to be solved by a sixth grader on the south side of Kansas City, learning what they must plan for different from what we're dealing with now. Please go ahead.
I agree with you. I just think there are parts of the world that want to still have faith or trust in us, but because of what is going on in our politics, they can't.
Exactly. And I think about it from the standpoint, and I mentioned it in the column, it is unfair what we are leaving our young people, but it is imperative that we teach them the best we can to get ready for the future. Because obviously we can't go on the way we're going because we are dysfunctional as it relates to the government, as it relates to climate, as it relates to mental health, as it relates to violence, as it relates to science, technology, engineering, math, the arts, social studies, international affairs. Our young people really have to take seriously what they are studying.
Well, young people are it is generally young people who make change. One of the things that we need is for some of these older people to get out of the way.
Thank you.
You pass the baton. Now, I understand the need for experience. But you have to share that knowledge, learn from that experience
Yes.
with the younger generation, because you need a fresh set of eyes. You need new leadership. You need younger people. It's always younger people that make the change, and we need those younger people. We need to be investing in those younger people, because we need them to step up now, because we need change now.
Thank you very much. And that is so important. And one of the things that I thought about when I think it was Christina Shell, is the young lady who was at KPRT, who did the renderings for what I was writing down. And when I asked her to do something for passing the baton, you will notice that when the baton is passed, the person with the baton is reaching forward, not backwards. You're reaching forward. They ought to be ahead of us. I remember saying one of the differences that I had with a local leader whom I knew pretty well, that we were in agreement with so many things, but looking at what is needed where young people are concerned, we had a slight disagreement. This person believes in strong leadership. I believe in strong teachership. Now, the way that I differentiate is very simple. This is a person, and of course, it does not make him wrong. There are those who agree with his philosophy, those who agree with mine. He suggests that a leader is not strong unless causing others to follow. I say a teacher is not strong unless causing others to surpass. My responsibility to young people is to suggest to them, and sometimes people will talk about my age. Oh, you're that old. Oh, I wish I could be like you when I grow up. No. Khalil Gibran in the poem The Prophet has a line that says, life travels not backwards. If you are only where I am when you get to be my age, we're going backwards. You're going to be in much better shape than I am. You're going to know much more than I know. You're going to be dealing with the climate that I'm subject to. In Tokyo, when we were doing our USO shows, one of the things that we had been told was their architects learned how to build to withstand hurricanes or something like that. So even though we're not responsible for climatic change, our young people can learn how to build that withstands extremes on the heat end or the cold end or the hurricane or tornado or volcano end. Hey, that's not our responsibility to stop the condition. But and that also brings to mind not only being able to make the plans to build structures that can withstand the extremes, but now once we learn how to do it, from whom do we get the supplies? So now we've got to talk about peace as well as progress, because you're not going to be able to do what's necessary to withstand, to grow, if you don't have a relationship with the places in the world that have the resources we need. God in his wisdom gave us everything we need. And we in our ignorance decided to be selfish. I don't want you to have this good stuff because I want it myself, but it just happens that you have a few things that I need. So instead of us doing what is Afrocentric, by the way, in the African nations where the trading was the tradition, so that if I have water and you have bread, then you can give me some of your bread and I can give you some of my water. So that if you have the supplies that I need on one hand and I have the topography that you need on the other, then why don't we work together? And here we are with what our Bible told us to look for: wars and rumors of wars. Human beings thinking that it is somehow profitable to wipe out another whole people. Now, when I think about what we brought to this land from the motherland, Africa, the natural resources, how to deal with those. When I think about what Columbus must have run into when Native Americans says, hey, the land is free, it's fine, and then suddenly somebody started putting stakes in the ground and saying, this is mine. When we were talking about using the buffalo for clothes and for eating, and somebody decided that hunting was for sport, it would help for our young people to take a real good look and say, hold on. If it makes sense to grow across the world for my grandmother to be able to eat, I'm going to go across and shake somebody's hand. I'm going to give somebody a hug. I'm going to take some barter. That was the word I was looking for in my mind a little while ago. Bartering was standard operating procedure. You have something I need, I have something you need. Okay. When did we get to the point that we were so selfish that we could say to somebody, this belongs to me, even to the point to KUAW Wilson, where I was surprised at a young age when I found out there was something called air rights, so that you cannot cross into somebody else's territory in the sky. Now, I don't remember, I'm going to study my Bible, but I don't remember God saying that this part of the sky belongs to you, and if somebody violates it, wipe them out. We got everything we need except civility. And now we're telling our young people that they must correct it, not how they must correct it. So we're asking our young people to study in a deeper way than we, until they can hear, and the adults can hear KUAW Wilson say that there are some folks who are a little older who need to step out of the way.
Well, but to add to that, we cannot hide history from them because they cannot correct the problem if they do not have the full story.
Thank you. Thank you. And there are those who have said in some quarters that they're concerned about black history. And I know they are concerned then necessarily about some other histories, but when they talk about critical race theory, I believe that 88 to 94% of those who criticize it have not even read what it is.
Don't have a clue.
They don't have a clue. And if you are concerned, I am less concerned about black history than I am about fact history. Because if you teach the facts, you can't avoid the blacks. It's just, hey, okay, let's just agree to tell the truth. And our young people can glean from that things. And you are so right. That's a good point. We cannot be ceremonially passing a baton and then giving up our responsibility for being there for the young people when we need them. We ought to have enough humility to say, young person, I will follow you, but as you say to KUAW Wilson, let me tell you where we're coming from. Let me give you some background on this. Let me tell you where we did well and where we didn't do so well. And this is the truth of the matter. Build on this. And have the audacity to even agree with young people. Here's something that happened in Chicago, Illinois, and I can almost tell you the year. It was in the 1980s. Ruth Love was the superintendent of schools in Chicago, Illinois, and she had a reading program that included Socratic teaching. A gentleman whose name was Mortimer Adler developed the Paideia program. And this was Socratic teaching, which meant that children could question. When I started teaching in 1964, we talked about didactic and coaching. Now, the didactic method, if I'm your teacher, I give you some information Monday through Thursday, and I give you a test on Friday. You don't question the information that I give you, and if you don't pass the test, you're not intelligent. But wait, somebody said, well, don't just give out the facts. Coaching. So now I tell you, and teachers would then get out of their seats and coach. So didactic and coaching. But now somebody said that children should enjoy the Socratic method, which meant I tell you something Monday and you question it on Tuesday, and I have to answer your question. There were teachers who resisted. As a matter of fact, Dr. Robert D. Brazil, south side of Chicago, had the Hyde Park Academy of Socratic Teaching, the Paideia program. And he was coaching teachers on using the Socratic method. And there was a group of teachers who said to him, I'm not going to be using this and have students talking about stuff they know nothing about. That's kind of what teaching is supposed to do. But so that now, in the Socratic teaching, giving the young person an opportunity to ask a question and to enjoy a conversation, now we both can grow. Because just maybe the student did ask a question, the answer to which I did not know. That's not a bad thing.
No, it's a learning opportunity for everyone.
Absolutely. And not only is it a learning opportunity, but you get an opportunity to show the children that you too still learning. And so it is that I agree with you. Your point is a salient point. We should not be ashamed or reluctant to do our part in giving them the history, the background, but letting them lead. And so it is. Here we are in the mess that we're in. And I got a question for you, since I'm in the interviewer's seat. You are so young, couldn't have been too many experiences, but when have you seen a time like this?
I have never seen a time like this, but I had a thought just now. You know, they especially they talk about the age of certain politicians, but it really is sad. We're talking here about young people taking leadership. It's really the younger politicians that are causing the chaos in the House of Representatives.
Come on. Can you imagine? I mean,
you know, if it wasn't for the youth that we have on this program and some of the youth that I've met in the Kansas City community, I probably would not have hope for the future. But I'm so thankful for the youth that I've met along this journey. It gives me hope. But when you look at some of the youth in politics, it's scary.
And that is the right word. It's scary because this stuff is real. And if you look at, we learned when we were in school 3 branches of government. So I thought that the judicial branch was the most trusted branch, that if anything went wrong, you could take it to the Supreme Court. The executive branch had to represent all the people. I mean, Biden is in a mess. He's got stuff coming at him from so many different ways. I don't even understand how he has the mental health that he would need. And when he came in, there were a lot of things going on. But the way stuff is going now, so the executive branch needed to be guided by Congress and by the Supreme Court. But now there is a problem in all of the branches of government. So you have the House and the Senate who could just legislate, who could keep government functioning. Even in their disagreement, they don't have to be disagreeable. Imagine some one person saying, I'm going to hold up the military promotions because I've got an axe to grind. One single person. And then you have the opportunity for Speaker of the House. Again, one person having a position that is so important that government can't run unless there's somebody with the title. You mean to tell me that in all of the intelligent people who wrote the Constitution of the United States of America and what is standard operating procedure at the highest level, that you didn't account for the Speaker of the House having a heart attack and not being available and nobody being able to run? that this is madness. We've got to pass the baton. And so here we are. But at any rate, you've been very kind to me, because without my guest, my monologue went on, and as we come closer to the end of the program, I'll get ready for today's message. But I thought in my book, there you go. Hey, I can see it. I can see that pretty good. Morning messages. What I would do is, if we had some time, that I might do more than one. But rather than do that, so I don't go over, let's do the closing announcement so that you can offer heroes you know you didn't know were heroes in your remarks. But before you do that, if you have something else, please bring it.
Well, actually, we're pretty close to wrapping up. I was about to give you the signal in one more minute. So anyway, so we're actually kind of getting to that point. So this is actually kind of fitting. But if you want me to go ahead and remind our students now, I can do that. If you have something else you want to say before I begin.
Oh, no. If we're close to the right time, that worked out pretty good. I just like to hear what you have today to say from your own perspective before the announcement.
Just one more thing to add to the conversation that we were having. We can't get anywhere if we have a group of people that refuse to work with other people. That absolutely refuse.
Thank you.
Or refuse to allow you to work with other people.
Come on.
We were all put here to help one another. We have to work together. Whether it's in politics or everyday life, we have to work together. We have to. There's no way around that. So
thank you.
With that said,
wow.
Students, if you have interest in, or you have an essay prepared that an adult at your school, a veteran, has given you permission, you can go ahead and submit that to stutesforboots@gmail.com. There is a monetary award. And remember, the veteran can be absolutely anyone at the school, but they do have to give you permission to read it on this program. With that said, I'd like to thank you all for joining us on your Stutes for Boots Waive Your Grades program. We come to you live every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. Again, I am your announcer, DeQuay Wilson. Now, our host, Carl Boyd, will close with Carl's commentary on academic patriotism and his daily message for students in honor of our veterans from his book, Morning Messages.
Inasmuch as, thank you very much, DeQuay Wilson, I read a whole column, and we have had this conversation. My Carl's commentary will not be lengthy at all. Just want to remind us that we are talking about the House and the Senate, and we're talking about the Supreme Court, and we're talking about the executive branch, president and vice president. And I would like to just say now that I appreciate Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden at this time would not want to have to sit in their position with all of the things that are going on. But let us continue to do our part and indeed to teach our children and pass the baton so that they can lead us. Today is October 21st. To students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day, October 21st. A hero's voice leaves students no choice but to honor their calls for excellence. October 21st. A hero's voice leaves students no choice but to honor their calls for excellence. Thank you so very much for indulging us, and don't forget, please, KOJH 100.5 on your FM dial. My name is Carl Boyd. Thank you so much. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.